Resistance Retribution is set after the events that were Resistance Fall of Man. The year is 1951. Our game follows our main protagonist, James Grayson, a former British lieutenant with a personal vendetta against the enemy Chimera. After being forced to kill his own brother in a conversion centre, Grayson goes rogue, demolishing as many Chimeran facilities that get in his way. Eventually, he's recruited by the European resistance movement to help in a broader war effort. The plot of the game strikes a solid balance between personal stakes and large-scale conflict. Grayson is a gruff, reluctant hero with some actual emotional depth behind him, which sets him apart from the typical shooter protagonist. The European setting of the game also adds a different flavour from the American-centric main series, with ruined Paris and other European locations offering a distinct tone. One thing that stood out to me were the environments and their level of detail. Now, I know I keep saying this, but for what is a PSP game, it sure is grand. It wasn't just flat terrain like most first-person shooters, it was quite varied. You could 1 minute be in an underground, dark, wet sewer to then be in a countryside with some of the smaller towns being taken over by the Chimera influence. It really did capture the feeling of an alien invasion on our planet. Damaged buildings, alien tubing, and mechanical structures. It all really came together to make this amazing environmental look of the game. There was a lot of different terrain too. It wasn't just concrete and dirt. There was areas of water and swimming. Water areas were home to sirens. Underwater like mermaid chimera. These were a pain in my ass, and always have been across the series that is Resistance. If you don't take them out in time, you'll find yourself either drowning or becoming fish flakes. There was also even areas of snow, which I'm always appreciative of. Being here in Australia, I've never seen snow, so this is as close as I can get, and having it in a game is just awesome. Something that had to be said was seeing humans, well I should say naked humans, being sucked through the tubes. It shocked me at first in a funny way, and I remember thinking, did I just see a naked body? No, hang on a minute. Oh yep, there it is. I found the voice work to be tremendous, with some goofy moments throughout, providing some great humour amongst the battles. I love how James has some funny nicknames for enemies, like calling drones tin cans.
You guys are a blast. Tin cans!
To then having James saying, "I'm having fish tonight," when seeing the enemy sirens.
I'm having fish tonight.
You just never know what James is going to say next, and it's a really good thing.
You took her round to the shoulder.
Minor scratch, that's all.
Minor scratch my ass.
The music in Resistance Retribution is pretty darn good. There's some high and low moments that follow the game, so when there's not many enemies around, it kind of is a little bit more quieter and ambient, and then when you go up against hordes of enemies and boss battles, it really does ramp up and it gets your blood and heart pumping to take out the enemy that is in front of you. And with that being said, I really need to see whether Spotify has Resistance Retribution on it, because I wouldn't mind listening to it while I'm doing this review. The game is broken up into an impressive 25 stages. To think that this is all packed onto one small UMD disc with a capacity of 1.8 gig is impressive. Most levels take around 20 to 30 minutes to complete. Some other stages, however, can take longer. That was the case for me with levels containing leapers. The spider-like enemies have been a pain in my ass, not only in this game, but across the Resistance trilogy and Resistance Burning Skies on the PlayStation Vita. The battle system for the game works quite well. For a seasoned first-person shooter player, it doesn't really bring anything really new to the table, but what it does do, it does it well. Now, I must say that playing it on the PSP probably would have been a little bit more difficult, I would imagine, trying to lock on to enemies. Unfortunately, I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5, and for the most part, trying to lock onto enemies was quite quick and fluent, and I didn't have any issues there. Two really cool features that I wasn't expecting within Resistance Retribution was, one, the use of cover fire. So you could use your environment, you could use the walls, crates, those sort of things to hide upon, and pop out and take out the enemies. So you could wait in between their reloads of weapons, or that's what I did anyway, to get through some of the more tricky areas. And then the other thing was how interactive the game was as well. I wasn't expecting this. There was periods of time where you could use certain button options to sort of open doors and get through parts. I thought that was really neat. I loved it. Now, when it comes to the weapons wheel, you guys know that have been watching my videos that the weapons wheel is always a very important feature to myself. Well, for this one, it wasn't too bad. You know, having to flick between screens of different weapons was a little bit of a pain, but all in all, it was still pretty damn good. I love that the weapons are granted with dual firing weapons. Examples of this being the 303 rifle with a secondary firepower of the 44mm grenade launcher. And the auger weapon having a secondary firepower of the force barrier. The barrier was also super helpful for me at times when going up against the harder enemies. Health is restored by picking up red health pills. Well, they're not really pills, but they sure look like them to me. Later on, when you finish the game, you can apply a cheat mode where you can unlock what is called infected mode, basically turning you into half Chimeran. Instead of requiring health packs, your health is auto-regenerated, which is super cool. It also turns James yellow in the eyes in the game, and also in the title screen, which I thought was really neat too. One thing I want to mention is the love I had for the rewind feature. It was a new addition that was put in for the PS4 and PS5 version of the game. The PSP never had this. If you found yourself dead or in a spot where you were likely to die, you could simply rewind the game back to a position shortly before. I would imagine the PSP version would have been a lot more difficult, as when you die, you return to your last checkpointed part, so that might even be at the beginning of the stage. So it is much easier, and I absolutely love the fact that you can use this rewind feature. It's an absolute godsend within the game. Now, let's talk about some enemies, because there were some great stand-up enemies in this game. Steelheads were great fun, being packed with augers, they were quite the challenge, being able to shoot you through the walls, providing always a tough battle. One enemy that was exclusive to Resistance Retribution was this zombie-like enemy called the Boiler. Basically a big-headed zombie kamikaze alien. And just the way these boilers walked around cracked me up. Resistance! The best method of taking this enemy out is with a bullet to the head. Be sure to take their heads off before they reach you, because they will explode on impact with you. Slip Skulls have always been a fun enemy in my playthroughs of Resistant games. They're small, agile, and a fast enemy that clings to surfaces. Your best method for taking out these cheeky buggers is using a sniper rifle. The Far-Eye FR1 for that matter. It holds down these enemies in a slow motion sort of trance that allows you, the player, to take them out with ease. Titans would go down as one of the great enemies next to the standard hybrids. Titans are basically hybrids that have had one too many steroids to bulk up like the Hulk. These big buggers need a rocket launcher shoved up their bum, because standard bullets are going to take a long time and you're going to go through a lot of clips trying to take them down, so you need some serious firepower to take down these big boys.
Over here, you big ape!
Now it's time to talk boss battles. One of Resistance series' strong points has always been the boss battles, and the game delivers 10 bosses, and we're going to take a look at a number of them. We're not going to have a look at all of them, but we're going to have a look at some of my favourites within the 10, and also talk about a couple of little issues I had towards the end of the game that, you know, weren't game breakers, but were a little bit disappointing. First up, we go against the boss, the dropship. The dropship acts as an airborne Chimeran vessel that drops off enemies and fires projectiles. As the player, you must contend with both the dropship's strong attacks and the enemies that drop down. Best strategy I found was taking out the wave of Chimera and then the dropship. It was a fun boss overall. Not hard, but overall a good, fun time. Next boss, we have the Hammer. Now, being a huge mech fan that I am, I was excited to see this one. The hammer is a heavily armoured Chimeran machine equipped with a powerful machine gun. The hammer was sadly not a difficult boss to beat. Once I found a safe environment of cover, I basically stepped out every time the hammer was distracted by my fellow comrade and hit it with high firepower. Repeating this method a few times sees the hammer defeated.
He's dead! You got him!
I just want to quickly jump in here to say that even though you get to take on the hammer boss a number of times in the game, which is truly awesome, one thing that really stood out to me, and I absolutely loved it, was the fact that we, the player, get to jump in to the hammer mech. It was so awesome being able to go out there into this battlefield, and you've got Chimeran running at you. You can shoot them with either your machine gun or your missile attack, and then you go up against other hammers in this ultimate mech battle. Truly epic. You've got to check this out, guys.
Alright, I'm exiting the trench, making a beeline straight for you. Get the bloody hell back! The target is heavily patrolled!
The Borrower is a great boss. This next one is a large underground chimera that leaves behind poisonous gases. This boss, like a big tremor in a way, is big, bad, and ugly. It's kind of a little bit of a challenge because you're trying to navigate the toxic environment with dealing with the Borrower's attacks, adding some complexity. Staying mobile and avoiding the gas is key to taking out this boss.
Choke on that, you big iron bastard!
Next we have Mallory. Now without spoiling too much, we have to end up going up against our once ally, now antagonist. Mallory provides quite the challenge. I found myself ducking and hiding and firing back at him when he reloads his weapon. Battling Mallory was one of my favourite battles within the game. Two angels, yep, you heard right, double the trouble. Two angels join together to provide a challenge. Now, this isn't the first time you go up against an angel. Before this period, you go up against one, but this time you're going up against two of them. And I must say, having these two bosses towering above us and flying around was quite fun. It was, however, not so hard to take them down, but I had so much fun going up against these two. My next two bosses gave me a number of freezing issues. Mother is one big gnarly boss, basically our mermaid-like enemy, the Siren, but one that has eaten too much fish flakes. While fighting Mother, our goal is to target the weak points and use environmental advantages to win. During this battle, I did have the game freeze a few times, having our protagonist basically frozen, floating up to the top of the screen. I must admit, it was kind of amusing the first time around. Chrysalis brings our final boss battle of the game. It's an ugly, big, alien-like enemy, which I am all for, and we're fighting up against it on the big top of this tower. And our goal here is to essentially be able to press a button after a while, which strikes the boss with electric shock, and then we can take out some of its health with some firepower. I did find, however, during one of my battles against Chrysalis that I got so close to taking it out and then the game broke on me. I was unable to use the electric current or firepower to take away any more health, and I was stuck. I had to restart the battle in order to take down this big, ugly alien. Taking out Chrysalis brought out a lot of excitement, one of the sense of accomplishment, but it also delivered yet another platinum trophy. For those platinum trophy hunters out there, this is quite an easy one to achieve within this game. There's quite a bit of replayability with this game. As you complete stages, you can unlock challenge achievements. Feats like taking out 3 titans with 1 rocket. It provides a lot of fun and replay value. I found myself replaying levels to unlock extras like movie clips and music. It's a brilliant example of getting more out of a game. There are 67 pieces of hidden intel in the game. If you manage to find all pieces, you unlock the XR004 Allure, Plasma Grenade, and Longbow. If you unlock everything, you also get an explosive shooting Magnum. This Magnum gun is a lot of fun and very useful. The bullets stick to enemies basically like a sticky grenade. Once enough of these bullets have been stuck, It's like a grenade of clusters going off. It's like fireworks. It's super fun. The Magnum gun can also be unlocked with the cheat that unlocks infected mode. I personally did it towards the end to get myself infected, and I got the gun as well. I hadn't had the time to try and unlock all 67 pieces of hidden intel. I'm sorry, guys. Difficulty wise, it isn't an easy first person shooter at all. I would be daring to say it's probably one of the hardest Resistance titles of all. It might have been just me, but I found at times myself getting stuck in spots and requiring myself to restart the level just to ensure I had enough health and ammo to get myself through to the next stage. Was this a bad thing? No, I don't think so. It really does give you your money's worth. I can only imagine playing this on the PSP, the game would have pushed even harder for a handheld. The campaign lasts around 8 to 10 hours. It provides just enough time to satisfy any third-person shooter fan. And like I said before, if you're a fan of Platinum Trophies, Resistance Retribution is quite an easy one. You essentially just need to complete the game, use every weapon, and get a number of kills, which isn't hard to do over the course of the game, and you'll see that shiny platinum pop up on the screen. Now, it must be said, Resistance Retribution will go down as one of my favourite Resistance titles I have played within my time of Resistance games. I have played all of them, and I really do hope one day that Insomniac comes back to this game and we see some new titles. Whether that happens, I don't know. At least I would love to see the original trilogy from PS3 make its way over to the PlayStation 5. It had some memorable characters in here. I had so many laughs. It flowed great. It was enough challenge to keep me gripped into this. Overall, a fantastic game that gets a Gundam Rush score of 8 out of 10. It was that good, guys. Highly recommend you downloading this for the PS5, showing your support. The more people that can get behind this game is more likely for Insomniac to maybe do something about it and may bring us another game. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Now, for those wondering, Russ, where are we going for the next review? Well, we're going into Final Fantasy V. Oh my god. For those who've been following my channel, we are going to be playing every Final Fantasy game on the mainline series. And I'm having such a blast doing it. It is going to be a lot of fun. For those looking to support the channel, please consider becoming a member of the channel, becoming one of the Gundies. It really does help drive this channel and make it become more seen by the masses out there. Alright guys, I'm Gundam Russ, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, fools. See you later.